Hello and welcome. It's time to hear what's on my mind on this episode of the Trisha's 2 Cents podcast. I'm your host, Trisha. Can men and women have friends of the opposite sex? And I'm talking about relationships and marriage. Today, I have a guest with me, and that's my husband. So we're going to talk about it. What's up, Jeff?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Okay.
So, what's your answer to this question? Can men and women have friends of the opposite sex? And we're going to speak from a marriage point of view, because since we're in a marriage.
Yes, I believe so.
Tell
and
me
the
why.
reason I believe so is because your marriage is also built on honesty. And if you are honest with your wife or your husband, that you have a friend, whether it be a male or a female, and you let them know, hey, this is my friend, and we've been friends, maybe before we even got married or, doing work or something like that. And you introduce them also to your wife or your husband to let them know, to reassure them that, hey, we are just friends.
So, why do you hear a lot of people are jealous and they say, no, my spouse can't have friends of the opposite sex? Because I've heard that a lot. Because me, and it goes for me too, I believe that men and women can have friends. And we've had our issues with other things that people probably like, oh, you crazy. Why is your husband allowed to have female friends? But because I have male friends and you know who they are. But there's no issue between that, right?
Right. Because I like you said, I know who they are. The majority of them have been introduced to me. I trust you.
That's a big issue, trust, right?
My trust always lies with you, So I also believe that I think in our marriage early, when I did have female friends, I didn't bring them around you or I didn't introduce them to you. And it can make your spouse feel some type of way because here it is, you might go to somewhere with somebody or go to the mall during Christmas time to shop with somebody and they don't know who that person is. And here it is, you have other people who know you and your wife or you and your husband, and they see you in the mall and they say, wait a minute, hold on. Why is her man in the mall with some other female?
Right. So that brings my next question, how is the marriage relationship respected between you and your female friends?
I also believe with one of my friends, she also talks to you, it's like all three of us communicate, so it doesn't put any, where you don't trust her around me and where you don't trust me around her because you talk to her on a daily basis. You learn from your mistakes. And that was one of my mistakes, trying to keep, I'm not going to say try to keep friends secretive, just letting you know exactly what I was doing.
Right. Because I have male friends and if they'll call me, I'll let you know, I talked to such and such today, but it's nothing like I'm not trying to keep it from you.
Right.
There's no secrets. And and you've met them, you know who they are. We've supported them in good times and bad, but I don't think we've even had an issue with me and male friends.
Right.
Am I right in
yes,
that assumption?
You're right.
Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of men are like that.
Well, I believe too, after so many years, I do believe that you trust me and I trust you. And like we said earlier, that's a big part, just trusting each other.
Yeah, but I hear so many people, I'm going to say even young people, even older people, they always think their spouse is cheating. And a part of that is, well, why do you even look at somebody that way? You could be in the mall and you speak to somebody. Well, why you speak to them? Haven't you heard people say that?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think people think that way all the time? Or is that's something in their head?
It could be in their head. It could be something that happened in their relationship that you don't know about. Lack of trust.
But and why I'm saying that is because what we've been through, we still are able to have male and female friends.
Because we also constantly building up each other and building up our relationship too. You know, you can't be hanging out with a friend, whether it's a male or female, and then not spending time at home with your husband or spending time at home with your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. So another question, how can the relationship be disrespected? So, and that will be why some people say, no, my wife cannot have male friends. No, my husband cannot have female friends. Because if you don't respect the relationship, no, you cannot have friends of the opposite sex.
Well, I believe it can be disrespected by that person telling you to do something that you know that you shouldn't be doing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be as far as, you know, having a physical contact with her or him. It could be, you know that you told your husband or your wife that you was going to be home by 6, and that person says, well, 7:30, we can get back by 7. We won't make it back by 6, but we can make it back by 7. Just tell them, you got caught in traffic, and that will cause a strife between you and your husband or you and your wife.
I'm going to give an example. Like if I see my male friend and his wife, say, at the store, I always acknowledge the wife.
Right.
Because you never want the wife to feel disrespected.
Correct.
Always. Even if when I meet strangers and speak to strangers, I always acknowledge the female first. Because you never want no one to think that you are disrespecting the relationship.
Correct.
Because number one, I am a female. Mm-hmm. And so I know how we think, or we can think.
Okay.
Right? So we should always be respectful of how, because you don't know what's going on in a relationship.
Correct.
You agree?
Correct.
So because we don't know what's going on in another person's relationship, always be respectful of that relationship.
Right.
Because just because we have, we're okay with having male and female friends, everybody's not okay with that.
That's right.
So, because what's good in one household, it doesn't work in another household, right? Okay, so, well, that's our take on can men and women have friends of the opposite sex. Now, like I said, what works in Jeff and our relationship may not work in your relationship. That's something that you will have to sit down and talk about. I know I see a lot of things that says relationship goals and, I wish I could have a relationship like you or that person over there, but we don't know what it took to get to that point. And of course, you never know what's going on in someone else's relationship. So just sit down and talk among yourselves and find out what works best for your relationship. Right? Anything else you want to say in closing?
That is about it.
All right. Okay. Well, we thank you for listening to this episode of the Trisha's 2 Cents podcast. Join me on the next episode as I give life lessons through my experience, my growth, and always from my heart. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite listening platform.